I say ninth round.
What?
I say ninth round.
You said ninth?
Yeah.
What's your response to that, Lamont?
Look, he got scared. Look. He looked at ninth.
I'm telling him, you saying you going down in a ninth? You know that power curry late.
I know you got some sneaky power. That's what I do know.
What?
Who said that? You said
My
what?
man over
You
there
said
said
what?
bet.
Yeah, that's why I've been waiting for the niggas to talk. How much you want back? How much you want to bet? Because I came up here alone. How much y'all want back? How much you want back? Just call it out. Huh? 100? That's a bet. What's your name? Al, where you from?
Tank, one of boxing's biggest superstars, is set to make his return on March 1st in an exciting All-American showdown against Lamont Roach. Ahead of the fight, fans are eagerly anticipating more action, especially after training camp footage was released as part of the Gloves Off series. In a surprising twist, the American boxer hinted that this fight could be part of his final year in the sport, as he is contemplating retirement in 2025. If he decides to retire at just 30 years old, it would be a major blow to boxing and a shocking turn of events, considering the big fight still ahead of him.
In the life of a boxer, an existence honed by meticulous preparations.
Nonetheless, Davis is putting in the work in the gym, preparing for this challenge with even greater intensity than he did for his fight against Frank Martin. The reason for this is no mystery. The Baltimore champion and his next opponent, Lamont Roach, share a deep history. If there's one fighter who can truly test both his skills and his mental toughness, it's Roach. Recently, Davis made a surprising confession, revealing that his greatest fear is being embarrassed and mocked by boxing fans, similar to the ridicule Frank Martin faced after being knocked out by Tank just a few months ago.
An existence honed by meticulous preparations.
Catch the rim, baby. Catch the rim, baby. Dance with this shit.
Frank was captured in slow motion, his face contorted from the force of Davis's punch, his lips and cheeks stretching beyond their usual position before he collapsed to the ground, remaining there until the count ended. Tank's biggest fear is finding himself in a similar scenario. To avoid it, he's giving everything in training. However, if you were expecting just training camp footage, you might be in for more than you anticipated. The Gloves Off series features narration and footage highlighting some of the most epic moments in the fighters' journeys leading up to the fight. Lamont Roach has made bold promises to teach Davis a lesson, while Tank has vowed to break Roach down. With a mix of training footage, interviews, and a compelling narrative, the series has delivered an exciting experience for fans, and that's the story so far. The incredible rise of Tank Davis is highlighted in the first episode of Gloves Off, Tank vs. Roach. The narrator takes viewers through his journey, with Davis naturally taking center stage as the main focus. Ever since he was a kid, his biggest fear was losing, says Barry Hunter, featured in the episode as Davis's trainer. Hunter, widely known for his work with DC fighters Lamont and Anthony Peterson, offers an insightful look into Tank's mindset and the road that has led him to this moment.
Come on, quick. Drop those hips. Nice. Come on. Give me that explosion. Rip.
Now, at 30, Tank Davis admits that he's had enough of the brutal side of boxing, hinting that he may soon retire. But before that, there's business to handle, his upcoming fight against Lamont Roach Jr. on March 1st at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Premier Boxing Champions is producing the event. Recently, the arc of Davis's career has shifted, and observers aren't entirely sure what's behind the change. Longtime fans are curious about the rumors surrounding Tank Davis's potential departure from the sport, especially since his father figure and trainer, Calvin Ford, was noticeably absent from the fight announcement press conferences. Despite the absence of details from his camp, Davis's training footage provides some insights. He looks sharp and sounds focused, even as he continues to speak of imminent retirement. According to veteran trainer Barry Hunter, this may be the most skillful opponent Tank has faced. While oddsmakers believe Davis will take care of business on March 1st, it's clear that despite his fatigue with the sport, he hasn't fallen into complacency. His hunger for success remains intact, and he doesn't seem to have succumbed to the silk pajamas mentality that often plagues longtime champions. One interesting tidbit about Tank Davis is that he openly admits his biggest fear is embarrassment. "I'm not trying to go out and get my ass kicked," he states. This explains his fighting style. Despite his power, he often takes his time and fights strategically in the early rounds. For Davis, it's about survival, staying in the fight, and not becoming a highlight reel knockout victim. His tough, gritty upbringing shaped his mentality. While many underestimated Mike Tyson's ability to beat Jake Paul, no one doubts Davis's dedication to avoiding defeat. In a recent interview, he offered a slightly different perspective on his fear, explaining that while Hunter remembers his fear of losing, Davis most fears being embarrassed.
If you care, because some interviews I see you say like, "Yeah, I don't care about this, I don't care about that." Where you stand on that?
It just like it's so up and down in the sport. When I say up and down in sport,
It seems Tank Davis is no different from other fighters when it comes to avoiding embarrassment, and he's putting in the work to make sure it doesn't happen. "You become this meme," Davis jokes, followed by a famous phrase, "I ain't got time for that." Meanwhile, Lamont Roach is introduced to viewers as a fighter with a clear desire for big fights. He immediately accepted the challenge of facing Davis and even jokes about his go-to-breakfast bowl during training camp. Roach is portrayed as calm and easygoing, a stark contrast to Tank's intensity. We get more insight into Roach's training in Plant City, Florida, where he chuckles and says, "I think I'm going to beat this bum." How much he truly believes that only Roach knows. However, we also see that he's locked in for camp, which isn't surprising given his experience in the sport. Like Tank, Roach has endured the ups and downs of boxing. He's a wild card. Roach says of Davis, referencing last month's rumor that the fight was off, was Tank leveraging the situation to secure more guaranteed money? It's a plausible guess.
it'd be like, I don't know, it'd be little clips like you see how like Manhunt was talking and then somebody else talked like his crew.
Mm-hmm.
That's what get me up. Like that's what make me like, I always want to prove to somebody.
Davis's record, 30 wins with 28 knockouts, is undeniable, featuring big names like Ryan Garcia and Frank Martin. However, Lamont Roach isn't focused on statistics. He's preparing to strip away Davis's advantages, both physically and mentally. Roach understands that Davis often breaks opponents down mentally before landing the finishing blow, but he plans to stay calm under pressure and execute his own strategy, not simply react to Davis's every move. His motivation is clear. He wants to prove himself as one of the best in the world. The biggest motivation for this fight is showing "I'm really one of the best fighters in the world," Roach said.
Looking at Lamont the way that everybody else look at Lamont, like I know Lamont is a really good fighter. I'm not. This ain't no Frank Martin. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Roach's statement is simple yet powerful. If he wins, his life and his family's lives will change drastically. He's not just fighting for himself, he's fighting for his family, his city, and the respect he feels has been denied to him. The plan for Roach is clear. Stay calm, stay sharp, and show Davis that he's not intimidated. If Roach can do that, he stands a real chance of breaking down the mental walls Davis usually builds around his opponents. Meanwhile, Gervonta Davis has been causing confusion with his unpredictable actions over the past few months. The Baltimore native has made a series of eyebrow-raising comments about his career, leaving his fans in a state of uncertainty. That IT all began on Christmas Eve when Davis dropped a bombshell that left everyone questioning what was happening. Out of nowhere, he claimed that his much-anticipated showdown with Roach, a fight fans had been eagerly waiting for, was canceled. There was no explanation, no follow-up statement, just a social media post that had the boxing world scratching its head.
I got one goal. It's only gonna be one winner. That's gonna be me.
Now, I could tell by the way you speak about him right now. Now, the world knows, the boxing world knows that you two have a friendship.
Yeah.
Right? I could tell by speaking to you that you have your respect for him. Do you throw that all away the night of the fight?
100%.
Or is it thrown away now?
That's cool. At the end of the day, I got one goal. It's only gonna be one winner. That's gonna be me. Whether you gonna lay down, or you gonna get down, or you gonna lay down. Either way, I'm gonna fuck you up. Then we could be cool after. You wanna make some money? I'm gonna whoop your ass. You wanna make some money? Because that's what it is. It's competition.
Yeah.
If you thinking otherwise, you're in the wrong sport.
Naturally, fans jumped to conclusions, speculating that it might be another one of Tank's infamous meltdowns. The unpredictable nature of Davis's statements wasn't new, but this time it felt different. The timing was off, and with no support from his team or anyone else, it seemed like another instance of Davis throwing a wrench into his own plans. However, just when it seemed like the fight might slip through everyone's fingers, Lamont Roach and his father, Lamont Sr., stepped in to clear the air. They issued statements reassuring fans that the fight was still on track for its scheduled date. While the situation could have easily spiraled, both fighters managed to keep the focus on their upcoming showdown despite the brief confusion. The momentum didn't falter, and now both Roach and Davis are fully locked in for their March 1st, 2025 bout at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. S. Roach said, "Get ready for 2 fights. And after I beat him the second time, I probably would ask the WBA to let me go up to 140 and fight at that weight."
And I mean, it's going to go, Tank going to be losing the first 3 rounds. Then he's going to download the data. Then he going to knock this dude out in round 7 or 8. Then he going to do the backflip. Then Jim Gray's going to get in the ring, or Caleb Plant's wife, and say, "Who do you want next?" And Tank's going to say, "I want all those guys." And they're going to go to the press conference.
Roach was just as baffled as the rest of us when the cancellation rumors started swirling. While fans on social media were panicking, Roach wasn't getting caught up in the drama. During a recent Q&A session on his YouTube channel, he addressed the situation with his usual calm demeanor. A fan asked him directly, "Why did people say the fight was canceled or that you pulled out?" Roach smiled, acknowledging the question, and explained his side of things. Gervonta Davis is like a wild card, Roach said. You never know what he's going to do next. The 29-year-old Washington native admitted that Davis's unpredictability is something he's had to learn to deal with over the years. But Roach wasn't fazed by the rumors or the confusion. Instead, he's learned to stay focused on what he can control. Roach has seen it all on his own journey, and he's not going to let any of Davis's eccentricities throw him off course. By now, Roach knows Davis well enough to understand that Tank is his own person, and his decisions don't always make sense from the outside. Whether it's an emotional tweet or a cryptic post, Davis often keeps people guessing about his next move. Roach, however, isn't bothered by the mental gymnastics that Tank puts the boxing world through. For Roach, it's business as usual. He has his own fight to prepare for, and nothing is going to distract him from that goal. The mental aspect of boxing is just as important as the physical preparation, and Roach is staying mentally sharp for what could be the fight of his life. "I don't let that stuff affect me," Roach said, making it clear that he's not about to get wrapped up in the drama or rumors. Instead, he's channeling all his energy into getting ready for the fight. Roach knows that beating Davis would change everything for him, his career, his life, and his legacy. But for now, he's focused on keeping his eyes on the prize, and letting the noise from the outside roll off his back.
Solve Tank Davis. What do you need to do together with you and your team and obviously your son to score that victory?
We got a game plan. We're going to execute it, and we're going to get the
Move
results.
that head, bob and weave, bob and...
As the countdown to their showdown in Brooklyn continues, it's clear that Roach is as focused as ever. His camp is already underway, and he's preparing for Davis in the most professional way possible. Gervonta Davis looks sharp and ready to go, with his weight already close to fighting form. While other fighters like Keane Davis seem to carry a lot of weight, during training camp, Tank is staying lean and prepared. He often looks more like a welterweight before cutting down to 135 pounds. But Tank doesn't rely on drastic weight cuts to gain an advantage. He's a natural lightweight, not someone trying to game the system by shedding pounds at the last minute. Interestingly, Tank's longtime trainer Calvin Ford hasn't been seen much lately, sparking speculation that the two may have parted ways. Ford has been a constant figure in Tank's career for years, so his absence hasn't gone unnoticed by fans and insiders alike. Leonard Ellerby, who knows Tank well, weighed in on the situation during a conversation on the Laboratory with Pla's podcast. Ellerby reflected on Tank's recent announcement about retiring after 3 more fights, saying he understood the mindset behind it. I can understand where he's coming from. Things are different when you have kids. It changes your life. It completely changes your life, Ellerby said.
And I'm gonna let y'all know something. His father was up here shaking on the what's the name? He was shaking on the
Thank everybody that played a part in it. My team, Roberto Diaz, Gary Jonas.
On my kids, he was shaking on this thing. On my kids, he was shaking. How you gonna say it's cap? It gotta be.
Ellerby also pointed out how Tank sees things differently now than he did 6 or 7 years ago. If that's what he said, that he's retiring, and we all heard him, no, not at all. It's never good enough what you do, and sometimes that can be frustrating, Ellerby shared. He went on to say that the pressure from fans and the constant demand for more fights can take a toll on a fighter. There's more to life than something you do for a living. You have respect for fans who pay their money to see you fight, but you have a life outside of boxing, he added. They want you to continue to do this, and they really don't care about your health afterward. The future may look bright for Tank, but it's also filled with hungry competitors. Fighters like Andy Cruz, Edwin Dolo Santos, and Keane Davis are all chasing him. It's possible that Tank feels the pressure. These aren't easy fights, and Tank knows it. While he may be confident he can beat them, he also understands that these battles will be grueling. At this stage of his career, Tank may not want to put in the extreme effort required for such high-stakes matchups. Ellerby also shared his thoughts on the brutal nature of boxing and how it affects a fighter's long-term health. The toll that sport takes on a fighter's body, both physically and mentally, is significant, and it's something that can't be ignored as they approach the later stages of their careers.
Don't bring them. Don't bring them.
For what?
Don't bring them. I'm telling you.
They gonna celebrate with me. Yeah,
don't bring them.
It's gonna be a party on your floor.
I'm gonna let y'all know something. His father was up here shaking on the what's the name? He was shaking on the
pops.
You said what? You said what? Yeah, that's what I've been waiting for, the niggas to talk. How much you want back? How much you want it back? Because I came up here alone. How much y'all want back? How much you want back? Just cut it out. Huh? 100?
Boxing is a brutal sport, Ellerby said. You see a lot of fighters from before who were taken advantage of in a lot of different ways. They went through a lot of health issues, a lot of permanent stuff. He acknowledged the hard realities of the sport, understanding the philosophy that fighters come in, make their mark, and then leave. Everybody's opinion is different, and everybody has different goals in life, he added. With Davis's retirement announcement hanging over everything, the big question remains, will it actually be permanent? Ellerby hinted that Tank may not be done forever. It's hard to ignore how popular Davis is and the kind of money he can attract, he said. If the right offer comes along in 6 to 12 months, it wouldn't be surprising to see him make a return. A massive payday could easily pull him back into the ring, especially if the opponent is someone high-profile enough to make headlines. Roach will move up to 135 pounds from 130 pounds, where he currently holds the World Boxing Association crown. and he insists that he's a far tougher challenge than Frank Martin, who Tank dispatched in 8 rounds back in June. Respectfully, I'm not Frank Martin, the 29-year-old said during an interview with Cigar Talk. Frank Martin started boxing when he was 15. He didn't have the experience to be in there with someone as skilled and experienced as me. I've got the same skill level as Tank. I've got the same experience, the same reflexes, the same ability, and damn sure the IQ. The Reaper has already faced Davis twice before in the amateurs, losing by decision both times. That's all for now. Stay connected with us for the best updates on news, moments, events, and action in the world of boxing. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications to stay updated with our quality content. Until next time, peace out. Defeating Davis would be a career-defining moment, transforming him from a solid champion into a household name. In camp, Roach has pushed himself harder than ever. His sparring partners have been carefully selected to mimic Davis's style, throwing speed, power, and aggression at him. But Roach has been holding his own, focusing on movement, defense, and keeping the fight in the center of the ring. Standing still against Davis is a death sentence. Roach knows this and is training to stay elusive while landing sharp counters. His father, Lamont Roach Sr., has been instrumental in keeping him mentally focused. The elder Roach is a no-nonsense trainer who refuses to let outside distractions interfere. Every session is about preparation and improvement, not media narratives or fan opinions. Psychologically, Roach knows he must stay in Davis's face from the opening bell. Davis thrives when opponents show fear or hesitation, and Roach refuses to give him that satisfaction.